Hi, I'm Tim Sonova, and welcome to How We Work. Today, let's take a closer look at the question, would you rather be right or effective? And to those of you who just answered both, well, you know who you are and you don't get that option today. I used to work in an office with someone who would always ask, which would you rather questions. Which would you rather, wear a bathing suit in Antarctica or a snowsuit in the desert? Which would you rather as a musician, be a one-hit wonder with a song that defines summer for a generation, or a member of a band with modest success for 10 years? Since those days, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for which would you rather questions. So when I recently read a business case study, I couldn't get the which would you rather be right or effective question out of my head. In the case, it detailed a company's leader who was about to lose their job. This person knew they would likely be fired if they couldn't improve their abrasive management style, and the company was even paying for them to receive coaching to try and help them pull things out of a tailspin. During their brief tenure with the organization, the staff had quickly lost confidence in this leader's abilities. People were incredibly unhappy, top talent started taking calls from recruiters, and the leader was well aware that all of this was happening. Yet still, they continued to forge ahead and ignore the concerns. They kept insisting that it didn't matter because they were right. Why should I change what I'm doing? I'm doing what's right for the organization. People just need to get on board. I should note here that this wasn't a case of miscalibrating people's ability to accept change, but we'll take a closer look at the need for leaders to do that in a future episode. In this case, the leader very well might have been right, but it didn't matter much if, in the words of that old saying, they won the battle but lost the war. Being right often feels good, but few companies hire leaders to be right. They hire leaders to be effective. In her TED Talk, self-described Wrongologist Catherine Schultz asks her audience what it feels like to be wrong. After soliciting a few answers, dreadful, embarrassing, devastating, she then blows minds by revealing that, no, in fact, those reactions are what it feels like when you realize you're wrong. What does it feel like to be wrong? It feels the same as being right, and therein lies the difficulty. How can you guard against being wrong and not realizing it? Well, cultivate a handful of trusted friends and advisors in your life who, one, will tell you the things that are hard to hear, and two, you'll listen to them when they tell you those things. Absent that, go with this piece of advice I heard earlier in my career. If 10 people say, I think you're drunk, well then you should sit down. A few years back, I had the opportunity to interview retired Brigadier General Tom Colditz. Tom's a genuine badass. He headed the Army's Leadership Academy at West Point and taught competitive skydiving. When I met him, Tom had just published a book on leading in extreme situations. When I asked Tom his advice for those leading in difficult situations, he said, your people need to trust you and know that you care about them. Great advice. And important to note that building trust and demonstrating that you care is something you build and bank over time. As I read the case about the leader on the ropes, and I rolled around this question about would you rather be right or effective, I thought about Tom's advice. You know, it's one thing as a leader to say, that's the hill we need to take, and another to look behind you and see your soldiers coming with you. Building trust and showing that you care isn't something you quickly do before saying, yep, that's the hill. How can you be more effective? That depends on a lot of factors, and for many of us, it's a lifelong exploration. It's a bit like a superhero discovering their power and then learning how to hone it over time. I want to leave you with a tip that undercuts your effectiveness. Suppress that need to be or point out you're right. It doesn't help you be more effective. For some of us, that's harder than others. But if you're just right all the time and you don't demonstrate you care, people usually call that being an asshole. If you focus on being effective and you also happen to be right, people know you don't need to point that out. Good luck with this one. It's not always easy since being right just feels good sometimes. In the end, as leaders though, we're judged more by how effective we are than how right we think we are. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay classy, Internet.